Hey guys, today I'm gonna convince you that Blizzard actually didn't make a mistake with LFR personal loot and now using those simple systems with a little bit of an innovation, you can actually create a brand new experience based on World of Warcraft. But first, I will explain to you how to create a system that will help to retain the new players and stop them from quitting the game before the game becomes way too hard for them, and how we'll engage them into raiding and dungeon content on a very basic level, and how to encourage them into a meaningful progression in those systems. So I was thinking to myself, if I were to put myself in, as a brand new MMO player, what are the first difficulties that you encounter? And I think in terms of World of Warcraft, it is a little bit of a talent tree. So, what's the issue of the talent tree, may I ask? Well, right now we're operating still on the 9.2.5 talent tree, which is the talent tree with three meaningful choices on each threshold every 15 levels or so. And I think this talent tree is completely fine for a new player perspective, but the major issue that I found in the new talent tree, for example, for the new players, is something that a lot of new Path of Exile players faced when they when they just join the game and they are told to add a talent point. You see this huge layout of things that have absolutely no meaning to you and lack of understanding. And you get lost, you get stressed out, and you just don't want to learn it. You just want to play the game, you want to enjoy the game instead of starting pages and upon pages of documents or what you should do and how you should go about it. So I think Blizzard should do the best thing they can do, which is still a system from another game. And here I'm going to recommend a system from a MOBA game. The game is called League of Legends. If I'm not wrong, the beginning players, they get a pass set of runes. Runes is basically how you innovate upon your character to one that you decide to play, and you choose the play style you're going to play with your character, other than items, of course. So the new players aren't actually allowed to create their own rune sets. They get a few pre-made sets of runes, and they can choose upon those presets. And I think this is something World of Warcraft is highly missing out of, which is create a system that doesn't make the new player struggle with everything that they learn. Give them an option to advance upon themselves on the new system, but also give them presets what they could choose, and make them not worry about those choices. Because to be honest, when you first join the game and you get introduced to the talents at level 15 or so, you have absolutely no idea what you're doing. You're not choosing the most optimal ones. But for example, you can have a preset for leveling, you can have a preset for AoE, or you can have a preset for single target DPS. And with that introduction, player would get introduced to the new talents without actually having to learn everything at the same time, and just try things out which work the best for them. I think another big wall you hit when you hit level 60 in the case of Shadowlands. I think one of the main issues with the game is that you get introduced to a lot of different types of content, plus the storyline, Shadowlands, which obviously is terrible. The questing is unbearable, but as you were leveling, you didn't really have to know what you're doing with your class. It doesn't require you to use any brain or any skill or anything. You actually just sit there, you mash buttons, and it's better to just spam Arcane Blast as an Arcane Mage than to actually use any other spell. So what I'm recommending is semi-mandatory, in my opinion, sandbox level for all the new players or all the new classes, with introduction to 3 different difficulty levels of rotation learning. So as a new player, you at least need to go through the easy rotation level to make sure you can join the further group content, for example. But I will elevate upon that foundation a little bit later on. So we create this possibility for other new players to practice, let's say, the easy and medium level of rotation in terms of difficulty, but you also give them a sandbox mode when they can, with a press of one button, reset all the cooldowns. And I think one of the most annoying things about learning your rotation, especially in World of Warcraft, is you have those big cooldowns, like 3-minute cooldowns, for example, for Celestial Guidance in Burkim, and it feels very bad if you burn the cooldown and you actually want to redo your rotation again because you feel like you made a mistake, but you have to wait those 3 minutes. So give them the tools to learn and to experience what the class is really about. Now, that will fix, I think, the scarcity of the players, of all the new players joining the game and being introduced to all those systems. I think the same way you could introduce the talent system, you actually should go about any kind of covenant system. Give players persets created by Blizzard or saved persets, so they can just, with a click of one button, don't worry about choosing all the soulbinds, all the correct conduits, where are they in the right place, this and that. No, just let them enjoy what they are already doing without actually forcing them to learn all the new system, but give them ability to learn more about the system on their own in a more advanced way. So I think that's one of the biggest problems that has you being thrown all this difficult system. At the same time, you don't understand your class, you don't understand your conduits, you don't understand your talents, you don't understand your rotation, and you have to make something out of it. So I think with those simple solutions, you could retain a lot more players, but you could also introduce them to the game in a way better way that doesn't scare them from the game. Now let's speak about the second thing. World of Warcraft, I consider there to be three main types of endgame content, which is completionist content, it's mod runs, transmog runs, all this stuff. PvE content, which I think is both the raid content and the Mythic Plus content, and there is a PvP content. Now, I'm not necessarily sure how the statistics go about the PvP content, but that's for, let's say, as the content for more engaged players. I think most of the people first go for the PvE content. I have a very good fix how to make actually what is raiding, what is LFR, and what is personal route. Create one system out of it, and that will retain a lot of casual players throughout the game. So here is my solution. You create an LFR type system and you combine with matchmaking type system, which is just a rated system. Now, first of all, I think the problem with the LFR system is when you join it, it's just a big ball of frustration. It's actually with all the raids that you join, that is bug raids or anything like that, you are so frustrated because it's just one person that can make a mistake and the whole raid wipes also. So I think what the Blizzard should do is first not queue from LFR system into a correct wing, but you should queue for a boss. Let's say for the first boss, which should of course be the easiest boss of the raid. When you queue as a new player without any kind of rating or without personalized scores about that boss in a current rating, you should get introduction to all the raid mechanics. There is of course in World of Warcraft the journal, where you can read all about the bosses and you can learn all this stuff, but nobody reads that. Actually, there is one case, when you read it, it's when your teammate dies and you're talking shit to him how he fucked up because he didn't know this one specific mechanic, and you link him the mechanic because that's how he died, so he learns faster. So it's basically used to create toxic environment by me. Now, what I think is you should get introduced to a raid with a team and get very clear indication how you should go about the fight. The thing is, all the new players that join the LFR or join the beginning of the raid, they have no idea about mechanics, they have no idea about strategy. I think they should be introduced to a Blizzard mid strategy how to defeat the boss. Now, some people may ask if that's not gonna help all the discovery system for the mythic guilds and creating the strategies. Of course, that's not gonna interfere in it. All the hardcore guilds that do easy, fast heroic progression or mythic progression, they will use their own created strategies that are way more advanced than what Blizzard does. So I think you should give them the first fights or the ability to join the fight, which is introductory fight, and that fight teaches you step by step the mechanics, how to avoid them, what they are, and pleasant and I think a safe environment that you don't feel stress about. You're being taught about the fight. Now, after you go through this type of fight, you should get some base level item. It might be base of role and personal route. Now, once you have actually passed the test and you know all about it, you should be able to join a rated type system, which I think is something that might sound a little bit controversial, but hear me out. So I think you should join a rated type group from LFR, and based on your performance and your team performance, you should be gaining some sort of, not necessarily visible, might be also hidden rating, but I think if it's visible rating based on your performance, there is encouragement for further progression, further improvement. And I think the item level drop that you should get from the rated type system should be depending on your performance and on your right performance as a group, and that will create an incentive for the players to practice their class, practice their gameplay, and just to become better at the game. But also having this type of system separated for normal guild heroics and mythic raids that I think should give no gear and you should get maximum gear from heroics, creating this kind of system will build a foundation of players that will have a good understanding of the raid mechanics and overall World of Warcraft game mechanics for a very long period of time. Those retaining players that will continue the subscription will have easier time joining next raid tier and the next raid tier and just joining further progression. But also when they will want to join a guild, they won't have to worry about being a new player because they already went through a fight with somewhat level of difficulties. Now, I think, for example, a certain type of rated raid should require you to have a maybe expert level of your rotation or your class test passed, or at least to go through it so you understand what your class is doing, and certain type of gear. But that's completely separated from guild raiding. Guild raiding shouldn't have these boundaries. I think guild raiding should be just able to access the highest difficulty of heroic on the spectrum of the difficulty with the highest item level from heroic. But I think they should also have an option as a pre-made group to lower the heroic difficulties to learn specific difficult parts of the fights. A lot of the times when you make the progress, you go to the one mechanic that wipes everybody and there is really no way to practice it. So I think you should maybe on a weekly basis reset be able to adjust the spectrum of the heroic difficulty that is also with adjustable item level. So your actually progression is not keeping to hit the wall, but you go through the wall, but next time you make the wall a little bit thicker and you give yourself an extra challenge. And of course, mythic type raiding with mythic type transport and mythic type rewards, but I don't think those should be item rewards. I think they should be cosmetic rewards, title rewards, mode rewards, transmog rewards. For people that really want to go into the mythic progression. Now, I'm not very sure about this solution, but I think there also should be a spectrum of mythic difficulties. I think this spectrum for the beginning of the expansion, for the sake of the Raid to World Fest, which is kind of big event in World of Warcraft. For those who don't know, it's basically all the top players from all the top guilds race each other to complete the mythic difficulty of a new raid tier. I think this difficulty should be capped to a certain degree at least the beginning stage of the expansion, and then when few weeks pass, you can actually extend this difficulty and give the highest tier players a possibility to get a rating also from it that maybe incentivize them to do this content, even though they already completed it and they have the items. I also would like to introduce a supporting currency for all the highly geared players that want, for example, extra transmog or want some mounts, that let them join and help the beginning players with their skill and their advice and their game. Not necessarily carry them, but cap their damage and their abilities to some degree, but guide them in the new content. And as a reward, they should receive some sort of currency that let them buy transmog, let them buy mounts, let them buy this, let them buy that. So the best players are also kind of joining the new players and guiding them throughout their first time in the raids. And I think if you follow those systems, you could retain a lot more casual players, because, like I said already, the raid in World of Warcraft is the best part of the game and it's the worst part of the game. You get the good gear, you get the bad teammates, a lot of frustration, a lot of anger, but when you actually complete it, there is a lot of happiness too. So I think this kind of progression through the raids could be way more valuable to all the new players, but also to the players that already play game for a long time and find heroic to be too easy, mythic maybe to be a little bit too difficult, and give them boundaries that they can try to move and create their own goals instead of putting artificial goals in front of them. So yeah, this is how I think you can fix World of Warcraft and its lack of casual players, and also using its main strength, which is raiding, as the casual content. Okay, thanks to everybody for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please consider liking and subscribing. Peace.